Hello, Carrots here. Welcome to Generation 1, Episode 3 of the McFluff story. This is Gerry on the left and Iris on the right, and they are the stars of Generation 1. If you have been watching the series, old Gertie, McFluff, was Generation 0. So now we've moved on to Generation 1, and once these pair get to know each other well enough and become a married couple, they will eventually move to live with Gertie. So we haven't seen the last of Gertie yet. Now, this is the first video that I have made using my new setup with a multi-world game. This is my big game, and I've got over 700 Sims in it on many different worlds. And the world that Gerry and Iris are living in at the moment is Dark Harbour, which was made by Reflong 7 and is available on the exchange. I'll just show you a little corner of it at this point. Down at the bottom there on the right hand side you'll see a very pale little roof, circular roof, which is a house on the beach. There's a whole row of lots on the beach there, and I've used one of them, and that's where Gerry and Iris live. The episodes from here on in of Generation 1 will be based around that particular house until they move on to a different world. Now, just above Gerry and Iris's place there is the base camp. I'm now putting base camps in all of my worlds. They don't all have base camps yet, but I have discovered that they are very useful. Now, Animation, who is the sim that I'm currently using as the travelling sim, she will live at the base camp of whatever world she's in, and her function is just to allow me to travel between worlds. She may be part of a group, or she may just be travelling alone, depending on what I want to do. If she ever gets played and ends up as a member of a regular household, well then I'll get another travelling sim, and she will do whatever we've decided she will do in her new role. Now let's have a quick look through the base camp. Here it is. I've made two of these base camps. They're very similar, but I think this was the first one I made, and I have got it in a few worlds now. The other one is a little bit more advanced than this one, in that I actually have facilities for toddlers and babies. And this one, it's really only designed on the idea that we'll only be travelling with teens, children or adults or elders. This is just a quick look around the outside. That ivy on the walls, I'm really surprised at how three-dimensional it looks. It is actually paint. It's wall covering, and it was made by Luna. And I think I finally worked out how to use it, because there's a whole series of bits you've got to put on in the right order to get it to work. Now, it's got a barbecue in it because it's a community lot. Now, that sim with the brown top there, that's Animation. And I have discovered that she's got visitors. These are people from a household from this world. That's the Wilson household. The man there is Jebediah Wilson. I've renamed him Jim for this game. And the blonde mother there with the short hair, that's Jim's wife, Florence. And she was originally a version of Patience. Patience is an elder in the big game. She was the founding sim who started the family that the big game was built around. And all of her offspring are in the big game, and this is now all part of the big game. The other blonde, the one playing the computer games, is Josie Heyman. Josie came into the game as a member of a household of 8 young adults, and that household was placed with their existing house at number 3 Gravel Pass. And for some reason the game moved her from that household to go and live with the Wilsons, even though at the time the Wilsons didn't have a bedroom for her. But she moved in. I found her there, decided to leave her there. And that's their toddler, Hillary. I found her mysteriously added to the Wilson household at the same time that I found Josie had been moved in there by the game. As you've just seen, the inside of the base camp has lots of bunk beds. There's 2 rooms with a row of bunk beds and some chairs and dressers. And also there is an area set up for them to use as bathrooms. That covers the base camp. Now we can move on to the gym. I've just placed the Olympian Physique lot, which is a venue available from the Sims 3 store. Near the top right of the corner there you can see City Hall, the police and the military. That's a combination rabbit hole which is just on the edge of the main part of the business district of this world. The next place is number 3 Gravel Pass. We've already seen a picture of the huge house that's on that lot, and there's currently 7 Sims living in that house. Josie used to live there, but she's moved out to live with the Wilsons now. The next lot on the left of the screen now at the top is the science facility, and that is where Gerry goes to work each day. The next location is another rabbit hole. This is the criminal hideout from the store world Sunlit Tides. The pick and pull junkyard came with Ambitions, and I've added it to the lot that's across the street from the gym. Finally, there's a vacant 50 by 60 lot there that I have no intention of using at the moment, and it's been called Horse Paddock by the maker of the world, Reflong 7. So that's just a short introduction to this little part of the world, and if you're still with me, you're a champion. Congratulations, and thank you for sticking it out. Here are a few members of the household at number 3 Gravel Pass. Now, one thing they all have in common is their duplicates. They are already in the big game somewhere or other. And the chap sitting there on his own on the seat, that is Bill Thompson, and he has a duplicate living in Dark Harbour, and his duplicate name is Walter Thompson. Now, Walter has been in the big game since the very beginning, so I renamed the duplicate to Bill. So now we've got Bill and Walter Thompson, who I've made brothers. Now, Walter is married, and his wife is Eliza, and she's a witch. And they have 2 children, a teenage son named Barry, and a toddler daughter named Karen. And Walter's got a red dragon as well. And their visitor is Ian Harmon, who belongs to another one of my old families, and he's flirting with Eliza. I'll introduce you to the Harmon family in another episode. It's rather a large family, and all of these Sims know each other quite well. Actually, Ian is best friends with both Walter and Eliza already, because I've been playing this big game for about 4 years now, even before I was using the Traveller mod to put the Sims live in different worlds. Seeing his mother flirting with another Sim was a bit much for young Barry, so he went out to sit in the sand pit and play a little while he thought about it. Then he had to go to school, the bus arrived, and off he went. Meanwhile, Iris and Gerry had some time off work, and they were taking the time to spend a bit of that time together to get to know each other, and they've got pink hearts. I'm really hoping they make a good couple. They discovered there was a Sim Fest on in town, so they went off to the park to watch the performers. And that's Bunny Bombay there in the green dress. She's one of the witches, who you will get to know quite well. The Simfest's being a bit slow though. There's not many performers. Bunny though was enthusiastically cheering an empty stage. So I decided it would be more fun to watch the audience than the stage. That's what I did. There's Florence Wilson with her teenaged son Larry. That's Lolly Racket. She's a townie from, I think, Twinbrook. And the Sim at the right at the back, that's the proprietor. There's Florence and her son Larry having a picnic, and the 2 chaps at the back are from that big house. 3 Gravel Pass. The chap on the left is Bert Winterbottom, and the blonde on the right is, of course, Bill Thompson. Now, I thought I would take the opportunity to just butt in here with a brief intro to Bunny and her household. I'll briefly mention Gene because he took a DNA sample from Bunny ages ago and cloned her, and the result was Brittany. Brittany's now a teen. She's a clone of Bunny, but she lives with Bunny and her family. Gene lives in this world as well. Now, in a previous game, Bunny was abducted by an alien, and after she was returned by the alien, she chased after the alien and she seduced him, and the result of that seduction is Bernadette. Now, Bernadette is a human-alien hybrid, and she has 54.39864% alien DNA. Her father, Orthoxapox lives in Dark Harbour with his mother and their cat. Orthoxapox appears to have quite a lot of enemies around town, and one of those enemies happens to be Bunny's fiancé, Jason Bombay.
Depsel Rooney God.
Yes, here we go. The stage show was just too boring to watch. But the audience was also happily excited and cheering that I decided that it'd be much more fun to watch the audience. That's the proprietor just walking off screen now. She's the one who runs the show and says who is allowed to perform. So here we go with the audience. There's Bunny on the left and Iris, and that's Jason, Bunny's fiance, just walked on in the orange shirt, and Bernadette running across the back, and they're clapping happily with the blonde hair is Gerry, who's going to be Iris's husband one day, we hope. And on the right is Lolly Racket, who is a pre-made sim from, I think, the Ambitions pack, Twinbrook, I believe. But there's much more animated watching the audience than watching the show. Lolly's happy. The audience is sure enjoying the fun on stage. In the background, walking from left to right, we see the proprietor and two Sims from the 3 Gravel Pass household. Gerry and Iris are off, so we will follow them home. And here they are back at home. When they got home, they both decided to play computer games. Iris prefers the TV, so I thought I like the TV too because I can watch what she's playing. And I encouraged Gerry to go and join her, and he was happy to do so. I'd like them to be best friends by the end of this episode, so I thought getting them to do something together would help that. After a while, Gerry's hunger drove him to go and cook some pancakes, which just happened to be his favourite food. In spite of his anxiety, he did a wonderful job of making his pancakes, and Iris was happy to join him, although she didn't eat any pancakes. She chose to have her own special drink in a pineapple. But they did have a happy chat together. So I think they're well on their way to becoming best friends, which is exactly what I want them to do. Gerry shared how much he loves eating pancakes by stopping to clap every so often. But Iris just kept on chatting. I can see the remote control there on the floor just behind Iris. Might have to get them a coffee table so they've got something to put it on. And of course, Gerry has a double interest in science. He works at the science facility and he wants to plant a forbidden fruit, which he needs to work on at the science machine that came with university life. And he's got a science machine sitting down in his basement. So all he needs is a seed, and he will be able to make his forbidden fruit. But will I let him plant it? Haven't decided yet. Do they really want to plant Sim Baby? Not yet. Things seem to be moving along quite nicely. Do I see a little autonomous flirting going on here? Excellent. Gerry's got to get a move on if he wants to ever have his own children, because he is getting close to being an elder. He's actually just an adult, but the next step is elder, while Iris is still a young adult. And she needs to get to the top of the cooking career, the culinary career. So I've got her reading some cooking books. She's reading recipes and then she'll read some cooking skill books. Meanwhile, Gerry's gone to go and play some more computer games. Iris had a wish to do a sculpture, so I checked her sculpting skills to see what she'd already done and decided that she needs to complete all of the sculpting challenges if she wants to be a sculptor. And one of the challenges is Master Sculptor. And to become a Master Sculptor, you have to complete 5 sculptures in each different material. And I noticed she'd done 4 clay sculptures, so I told her to sculpt in clay. I didn't tell her what to sculpt, just I told her to sculpt in clay. Once she's achieved the Master Sculptor, then she can sell her sculptures for 25% more. So it seems she's made a laundry basket. We'd better be careful not to put that out anywhere on the lot, or they'll be dropping piles of dirty laundry everywhere. We'll have smelly laundry all over the house. I do not want to get involved with somebody having to constantly wash clothes. Not just yet, anyway. See, that garden behind them is getting pretty full of plants. I didn't realise they'd planted so many seeds. They must have planted all the seeds that they had. There's no time for them to maintain that garden. So there is the laundry basket complete. Yes, we'll have to hire gardeners to look after that garden for them. I think it's time for sleep. They've each got their own bedroom with a double bed in it, and I went to check on them after a while, and I discovered that Iris had climbed into bed with Gerry. They're in Gerry's bed in his room. So maybe their relationship is going to improve. They're not spooning or kissing or cuddling or anything like that, but at least they're happy to share a bed. Progress. Gerry had to get up early because he has to go to work at the science facility. Iris has got some more days off before she needs to go back to work at in the culinary career. I think she's working at the diner. Gerry's been cooking and cleaning up again. That bit of cooking needed to be cleaned up. Look at all the flies. Oh, there's the coffee table. I've added the coffee table, and I added a mood light. Turned it green. Made it green for 2 or 3 reasons, really. Well, their last name is Greene. Gerry's favourite colour is green, and I wanted to see what Iris's skin would look like under a green light. I thought it might come out very pale. Definitely don't expect it to appear to be green. And I picked up that remote control that had been on the floor and put it on their new coffee table. I gave them the coffee table matching the chair they've got, the lounge chair they've got, which came out of the tiki set from the store. Iris finally woke up and decided she wanted to continue playing computer games on the TV. And as I thought, her skin doesn't appear to be particularly green under that green light. Gerry's gone to work at the science facility. We'll see him again after work. I think Iris has got ideas that she might be permitted to play computer games all day. That is not going to happen, and I'm going to have to fix up that garden. Those trees are wilting, and they shouldn't be growing up through the floorboards. So I'll move them around later so that they're not doing that. It's going to be hard in that garden. It's a bit overpopulated with plants at the moment. Certainly got some different games available for Sims to play. So Gerry's got an opportunity now to deliver some very nice or better garlic to the restaurant. He'll have to go to the greenhouse. He needs seeds from the greenhouse as well, because he wants to make a forbidden fruit on the science machine. And there's no garlic growing in their garden at this point, so he'll have to go and look for garlic in the greenhouse. And Iris can get back to reading recipes and cooking books, because she's got to get to the top of her career and get that fridge before we move on to the next part of the game, where she will get married, start having babies. And before she gets married and starts having babies, we'll be moving to Hidden Springs, where she will finally meet up with her mother's good friend, old Gertie McFluff. I'm not really sure how Gertie and Iris's mother got to know each other. Perhaps it was from school days when they were both children, and they probably haven't kept in touch. So Iris doesn't have much of an idea of the type of person Gertie is these days and what her ambitions are. Fortunately, Iris and Gerry are both cat people. Now the gardeners have arrived. You always get enough gardeners depending on the size of the garden. If it's a very small garden, you end up with only a couple of gardeners. I think they come in pairs. And it's a mod, and it's available at Mod The Sims. I think it's by Douglas Vega. And I would recommend you Google Sims 3 Gardener Service, and you will find it on Mod The Sims. If you're interested in getting that mod, of course. If you don't want it, well, that's fine. But every time I want to find it, that's what I have to do, because I never remember the link. Just type in Sims 3 Gardener Service, search on Google, or whatever search engine you prefer. So Gerry's already been off doing a bit of adventuring. His lifetime wish requires him to visit, I think he's got to complete 6 tombs in each of the various World Adventures worlds. So in the next episode, I'm pretty sure you'll find Gerry and Iris doing a bit of quality time together while they get to know each other better and investigate tombs in one of the World Adventures worlds. Now I want to get Iris to level 10 cooking skill as soon as possible, so I started to get her to cook at home. But after making one recipe, I realised that she'd end up with a fridge full of food that will all go rotten and they'll just have to be thrown out. So she only cooked one item, and then I got her reading. I should have sent her to the library, because at the library she would have gained skill very fast. But I didn't. I just left her read at home. But we don't have to watch all the time it took for her to read all those skill books. She had to finish off Volume 2, Cooking Volume 2, and then she read all the way through Cooking Volume 3, which got her close to the top of the cooking skill. And after a while I will get her to maybe go and do some more cooking just to get to the top. Or I might get her to cook while she's at work. That will get her cooking skill plus be taking up time at work. I think she's a level 3 in the culinary career at the moment. Now that pretty painting with the pink sky and the tree with birds in it and the background on the wall there, that was made by my friend QT Brunens. The other paintings are mostly things I've downloaded, and they're by Sim Picasso. And again, if you're wanting those paintings, you'd need to Google Sim Picasso Sims 3. Sim Picasso's all one word. There's a lot of different of the well-known masters, old masters that person has put up. And most of them are worth 10 environment points, so you don't need many in a room to make them always at the top of their happiness level for being in a room. So Gerry's finished work and he's gone to the greenhouse as planned, and he's collecting a few seeds so he can try to get a forbidden fruit from the science machine. He's got to do a gene splicing experiment to get a forbidden fruit seed. You don't need any particular science skill, you just need a lot of patience. Sometimes you get the forbidden fruit straight away, but most times it takes a lot of effort. He might pick up some of those suns while he's here too, because they're worth 100 simoleons each if he can sell them before they evaporate. There's a cow plant spring rider there between those two humble harvest stands. Now that fairy, she lives with the Greene family. Her name is Bron Murphy, and I don't remember anything about her previously, but she is one of my old Sims. I placed a household in the world, looking for a quick way to get some Sims into this world. Now this plant Sim is a teenager, and he is Joseph Bombay. Remember earlier in the video I was explaining how Jean had cloned Bunny? And he also picked a plant sim, and this is the plant sim baby that Jean picked. Except he's not a baby anymore, he's a teen. There are several other teens in the world, so he's not a lonely teen. Joseph actually lives with Jean and a couple of other teens who Jean is responsible for and hasn't been able to pass on to one of the female Sims. There is an alien Sim that belongs to Jean, a girl called Sophie, and there's also the clone that he made from his own DNA. That's an evil Sim called James Bombay. I think James might actually still be a child, but we'll find out when we see him. And of course there are other teens around town as well. Here Joseph has come across Larry Wilson. We've already met Larry and seen him at the Simfest with his mother earlier in the afternoon. That one in the blue top that's just walking in, that's Jen Hawkins. She's one of the first Sims I made. I made her just before I made Patience, Jen and her teenage daughter. And that was Florence Wilson, just walked in now. Here comes Gerry. He's been to the bar and bought himself a meal, which he's going to eat out here. There is a juice bar that comes in the greenhouse venue from the store, and I took that out and replaced it with a professional bar from late night. So there's a mixologist there, and they can order meals and all sorts of drinks from that bar that's in there. And Jen Hawkins is through there now having a drink at the bar. And there is, behind the blue hydrangea bush, a dancing fairy. After he'd finished his meal, Gerry came across young Brian Thompson, the teenage son of Walter Thompson, who we met at the beginning of the video, and they indulged in a water balloon fight fairies collecting suns now. Not only do those suns get 100 simoleons each when they're sold in time, they also give most Sims positive moodlet. Depending on the traits, sometimes they get a negative moodlet. After the water balloon fight, although Gerry was by now very tired, he thought he'd better go and pick some garlic because he's got that opportunity to deliver some very nice or better garlic to the restaurant. Of course, he's only collecting normal quality garlic here. He may have to take it home and plant it and take care of it until it is very nice or better quality that he can harvest at home. And then he went and had a little dance with the sunflower. By this time, Gerry was really tired, and back at home Iris had managed to get her cooking skill up to level 9, although Gerry didn't know that, and he decided to go home. And I will end the video right here as Gerry leaves the greenhouse venue to go home to have a sleep so he can get ready for work the next day. And I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye bye for now, and happy simming.